Welcome to episode 2 of the Big Story podcast, CarbonCopy's latest avenue to engage audiences with snapshots of what's happening in the world of climate and energy. From complex global topics like climate finance to on-ground issues like just transition and extreme weather, this podcast aims to make climate issues a part of dinner table conversations. I'm Paridhi, writer at CarbonCopy, and today we're looking at how the push for sustainability in India's textile industry is training the very artisans who have kept its centuries-old crafts alive. India's textile and apparel sector is valued at $174 billion and is the country's second largest employer after agriculture. But behind those numbers lies a story of growing distress. The handloom industry, in particular, is weighed down by regulatory hurdles, limited state support, and growing competition from big brands. Our story begins in Sanganer, a town in Rajasthan famous for its vivid block printed fabrics, preserved for generations by the Chipa community. But this beautiful craft is increasingly at risk, not just from market forces, but also from water scarcity and pollution. Every day, around 850 dyeing and printing units in Sanganer use up to 1,000 liters of water each. That adds up to 25.5 crore liters annually, assuming 300 working days a year. To put that in perspective, the water used by just one unit in a year could meet the basic needs of around 1.5 households. About 2 decades ago, many of these units were forced to shut down after synthetic dyes were found to be polluting the Dravyavati river, a key water source in the area. In response, the government set up a Common Effluent Treatment Plant or CETP. But as CarbonCopy found, many CETPs in the region simply don't work. Hariom Bawirwal, a dyer in Sanganer, told us that the main CETP meant for 450 units is handling waste from nearly double that number, despite paying registration fees as high as 15 lakh rupees to be recognized as legal businesses. Untreated wastewater still finds its way into the river, which is used for irrigation and livestock. In 2023, the National Green Tribunal fined the Rajasthan government 100 crore rupees for environmental damage. But fines alone won't fix broken infrastructure. Several studies have pointed out the CETP's systemic problems such as outdated technology, poor effluent quality, and a lack of skilled staff. Without upgrades, regulations will do little to protect either the environment or the artisans. Faced with rising costs, many artisans are abandoning the painstaking craft of block printing for cheaper, faster screen printing, even though these units are also under NGT scrutiny. On the ground, enforcement is weak and pits around printing units are often filled with untreated wastewater. Artisans like Dinesh Marwal, who grew up with block printing, have made the switch simply to survive. The fact remains that very little support reaches these artisans. The Ministry of Textiles 2047 draft roadmap outlines plans for a sustainable, circular, and resource-efficient industry. It's a good start, but so far there's little clarity on how it will help smaller units on the ground. Himanshi Singh, who's a founding member of Bearcraft Consulting, told CarbonCopy that most regulations are written for large-scale industry, not handloom or cottage units. This leaves small artisans confused and penalized. Even natural dyers, those using plant and vegetable-based colors, are struggling. Rohit Rusia, who runs Asha in Chhindwara, Madhya Pradesh, says they received no state support. After their contract with the local emporium was cancelled, artisans were left adrift. Sunil Narayan Titanwala from Bagru, who has used only natural dyes for decades and has collaborated with major brands, now takes home just Rs 20,000 to 30,000 a month. barely enough to cover his household and electricity costs. Meanwhile, bigger brands and export houses operate with far more resources. Anokhi, for instance, says it recycles water and now uses natural dyes in about 20% of its production, a number they hope to grow. The Jaipur Integrated Texcraft Park houses several large exporters with in-house effluent treatment and rainwater harvesting systems. Yet, most still rely heavily on synthetic dyes. And here's the stark contrast. A finished kurta may retail at 3,500 rupees in a branded store in India's metro cities, while the artisan who dyed the cloth might have sold it for 375 rupees per meter. To make matters worse, artisans often don't own the designs they create. Brands patent them, and reusing the patterns can cost the artisan future wages. As Divyanshu Datta of Third Eyesight points out, large brands can and do get away with greenwashing on a global scale, not just in India. By certifying a tiny fraction of their products as eco-friendly, brands that otherwise push disposable fashion get to pretend they're green. So, what's the way forward? According to Himanshi Singh, we need a cluster-based, community-led models backed by government subsidies, private partnerships, and green tech. That means upgrading CETPs so they actually work, protecting artisans' design rights, scaling support for natural dyeing, and most importantly, ensuring fair prices. Because if we don't act now, we won't just lose the craft, we'll unravel the social and cultural fabric that has held communities together for centuries.